Hello, ladies and gentlemen! Welcome, of course, to another Media Reviews installment. Today we take a look at the Mass Effect Halo fanfiction that I fell in love with, from an Australian man who, honestly, I found out is actually writing his own book, so I'm looking forward to reading that as well. But, ladies and gentlemen, today we take a look at Chapter 22 of, and I cannot believe I forgot the name, hold on, Audax Novus, ladies and gentlemen. Chapter 22. And oh boy, a lot happens in this one, but let's go ahead and concentrate on the stuff we love, we like, we want to have fun with. And that is literally everything else in between. So, the story is actually really cool. It follows a lot of cool elements that I actually do love. But the element that actually made me really giggle and giddy like a little girl is the Asari part of it, because a agent is actually, through gene modification, thanks courtesy of the UNSC, now looks like a human version of Cortana, or at least a blue man version of Cortana, hair and everything, and literally is Athena, essentially, is the goddess, the mother of the Asari, and literally goes to the Asari homeworld and literally begins all this, and it's honestly kind of a cool little shot, and I love it! And there's so much that can be done with that, and I will talk about it later on, I promise, but right now, that's what happens in one part of the story. The other part of the story is going to the aftermath of blowing up the fucking relay. After they destroyed the relay in the glorious fashion, they look at the world that is being, attacked by the Reapers, and, the Batarian little colony world, what have you, don't give a shit, and more or less begins to do its whole assimilation thing, whole thing of the Borg.
Resistance is futile.
Or really anything of that nature. And they realize, you know what, maybe we want to go ahead and take care of this after we gather some data from it. And they gather the data, and then they drop some fucking nukes. And the Reapers find out about this, and after some residual scans, of course, they realize that, they took out 3 Reapers in that blast, so that's some good casualties. That's some good kills. Good kills. But the Normandy crew, with that advanced stealth system, and Captain Anderson now in command, hightail it to another relay that they discovered, thanks to the Reapers, and begin to slip space to it, get through it, call for backup, and they begin to battle with the Reapers as they're coming through. And while, yes, they get a good bloody nose out of it, and a little bit of a black eye, here comes the chief, or at least Miranda, that sexy Amazonian goddess, and begins raising hell on them. And again, I love it. I really do love it. But speaking of Miranda and the chief, the relationship is grown. And she even jokes about him being so bloody tall. And I love it. The relationship is good, it is blossoming, it is great, I love it. I really, really do. But we'll get to how that can be turned funny when we get a little bit into speculations. But outside of that, the elusive man is making his own version of the Crucible. And he's a little bit upset of what the Master Chief has done and all this other stuff, and begins preparing for his own little bit of an introduction, preparing for his own little conflict, and just, yeah, there's that. But, finally, the big one is, of course, Elon Musk's descendant is helping to create their own version of the slipspace drive, with, of course, the UNSC Navy, well, not the UNSC Navy, my bad, the Alliance Navy that pulled a fucking coup, and basically said, yeah, no, we're getting the fuck out here. We're gonna go serve with the Admiral. And I'm just waiting for a military coup to conduct on Earth to basically remove the civilian council and put in a military council, like the Terran Command from, of course, Starship Troopers. Because the Starship Troopers book and the movie has taught us that civilians can't really be trusted with that of war, honestly. Civilian governments are meant for peacetime, not wartime. You need a military government. You need military leadership to take over by that point in time. We need citizens, not civilians.
Using force. And force, my friends, is violence. The supreme authority from which all other authority is derived.
But I'm not gonna lie, there was a nice little training sequence with the chief and some of his soldiers, his rangers, that were talking about the Flood and preparing them to fight the Flood, which, let's hope to God the Flood does not show up in fucking Mass Effect. Let's hope to God that doesn't happen, because if that happens, dear God, we don't need that. We don't want that. We don't need that. But if it does happen, that'd be a nice little interesting contrast, because they just fought the Reapers, who are basically like the machines in the Terminator, like the machines from the Matrix and Skynet from Terminator, trying to basically assimilate. Well, correction. Let me go ahead and just give a nice little combination of what I think the Reapers are. They are a combination of the machines from Matrix, Skynet from Terminator, the Borg from Star Trek, and that's about it. That's all I got, really. If you think of any other machine-based entities from sci-fi, sound off in the comments section down below. But again, they basically fought the machines and won, which that is going to happen. We know it's going to happen. Just depends on how much the body count's going to rise. And now they have to deal with a parasitic entity that is just, yeah. But what I do love is that how the soldiers are actually handling it. But the way that the chief was explaining how to take out some of the Flood, and basically how easy and how to do that, I was expecting Neil Patrick Harris to come out and basically explain how to kill a bug.
Here's a tip. Aim for the nerve stem and put it down for good.
Would you like to know more?
That is twice now I've used Starship Troopers in this review. I'm on a roll! Or no, wait, I used Starship Troopers before in the last review of this series. Okay, 3 times then. A-01, if you come up with any more scenarios in this story for me to use more Starship Troopers the clips in this review series of yours, in this review series of your book, I'll be happy, okay? I'll be a happy, happy boy. But what I will say is that this does show a stark contrast of how they fight the Reapers versus the Flood. The Flood is a very much so parasitic, yeah, while the Reapers are more controlled, methodical machines. This is a stark contrast in terms of the enemies and threats. The Flood are parasitic and chaotic, while the machines are methodical and calculating. Sound up in the comment section down below what you think will win in a war against each other. Will the Flood win, or will the machines win? Sound off. The story does end, though, with the Doctor finding the Spartan program and starts beginning a briefing for, of course, the Admiralty, or at least the, wanting to try and see if they can't replicate this. And already I can see some cool ideas. Number one, of course, being that there's a way that the author can do this, or at least I'm going to go ahead and say off several ideas that the author can do this. In terms of the actual, genetic makeup and the logical gobbledygook, because this is Mass Effect and biotics are in play here, there is a way you can say that biotics can... There's like a 50-50 chance for biotics to be able to be augmented and be Spartans, versus those without biotics who have a much lower chance of being Spartans. Because augmentation is a legitimate thing in the Mass Effect universe, and Miranda Larson is, of course, one of those people who is heavily augmented, it would be much easier for her to be able to turn to a Spartan, because of the already installed augments. It'll be painful as hell, yes, but she'll be able to be turned into one. In terms of the biotics, and those with biotic powers, that is where things get a little bit more complicated, because in terms of the actual mathematical ability and chance for them to be able to accept the augmentation is kind of low. But again, there is a 50-50 chance that they could accept an ability. And I'm not just talking about, human biotics, I'm just talking about biotics in general. And then we have to go to the actual species. With the Asari and the fact that they will have a religious fervor for the chief, the Master of Chiefs, essentially, the Master Chief, John 1:17, I could see them actually using this sort of augmentation and them being turned to Spartans, but not Spartans, but into a sort of female warriors, or at least like warrior nuns from not from Mass Effect, from Warhammer 40k, being like a high honor. But Miranda gotta worry about them thirsty thoughts, and she gonna have to come in there with her bat of no horny.
Oh my.
Because let's face it, Miranda Larson is going to be like that, because once she starts seeing them hungry eyes and them being so thirsty, oh my god, I can just imagine her being like a crocodile with the crocodile hunter. It's like, here we have the female Spartan goddess warrior, who is very protective of her mate, the most dangerous creature of the animal kingdom. I'ma poke it with a stick. Oh, she's angry! Again, there's just so much that can be done in terms of jokes, damn it. But, I'm not gonna lie, the idea of actually, like, again, there are so many ways that the Spartan program, or at least their version of the Spartans, can be used to not only, of course, control the Asari, in terms in, like, a religious sort of monarchy, or at least a religious autocracy, or a religious military government. That's a dangerous combination right there, religion and military. But they can be controlled and used to give that sort of religious fervor. And again, it works out so well in the end. It's just so much amazing ideas that can be done with this. It really is. But in terms of how each species can take to the augmentations, I can see the Krogan being like George from Noble Team, being that sort of heavy-built, heavy weapons specialist, being able to tank a lot of shots and give a lot of damage at the same time. The Asari, I can see them being like June, specializing in long-range combat, infiltration, or my bad, not June, Cat from Noble Team, or at least, you know, being good infiltrators, being good assassins. You know, just that sort of specialization. The Turians, if they're able to accept the augmentations pretty well, being like Jun from Noble Team. Snipers, long-range combat specialist, being able to not only handle mid-range combat, but long-range combat. Specialized snipers, reconnaissance. You know what I'm saying here. For everyone else who understands the aliens and the Xenos of the Mass Effect universe, sound off in the comments section down below which type of Spartan specialization they'd be good with and good at. I'd love to hear you in the comments section. Now, in terms of how the war could happen and continue onward, especially us seeing the Reaper's point of view, going off of other Mass Effect storylines, I have actually seen the points of views of Reapers being sort of interpreted, as well as the Grand Intelligence. And no, I'm not talking about the Star Child. Fuck that shit. I'm talking about actually treat the intelligence as sort of like the architect from the Matrix.
I am the architect. I created the Matrix. I've been waiting for you.
My god, that's the second time I've used the Matrix. Well, no, that's... Yeah, no, that is the second time I've used the Matrix as a good reference point. What I'm saying is that the machines, the Reapers, essentially, being machines, they are analytical, they are methodical. They could not estimate, they didn't estimate that this sort of anomaly is in this cycle, and that the anomaly has this sort of advanced technology or this power. They were expecting the Shepherd to be this anomaly, not two anomalies, being the Master Chief. So I can see the Reapers trying to adapt the strategy against the UNSC strategy and doctrine, as well as attempt to create maybe infiltrators or counter to the Chief. Which, if that happens, I hope we get a sort of Agent Smith.
Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague, and we are the cure.
Type Reaper, which would be fucking amazing in my opinion. I mean, really think about that. The Reapers are these wholly advanced machines, yet they don't have infiltrators like the Terminators. And when I mean Terminators, I mean T-1000 type like machines that are able to mimic humans, able to mimic organics and be able to go off and handle this sort of thing, be able to infiltrate society and take it down from the inside. You're telling me they don't have infiltrator models?
What the
So much for being an all-spanning galactic intelligence. Bunch of dumbasses. But again, that does bring up a cool idea, especially a type of villain, a type of architect for the Chief to go up against and be a sort of pseudo-match. A learning machine that is able to understand the opponent and learn from them. And again, if this does happen and somehow the Chief pulls a Neo and this Reaper Agent Smith becomes self-aware, we could get some awesome fucking dialogue between the two.
Mr. Anderson. Surprised to see me?
Say what you will, but don't tell me that wouldn't be an awesome, cool standoff and cool villain, essentially. It would be kind of cool if he had the voice of Hugo Weaving, because Hugo Weaving plays good villains. Plays really good villains. And I'm not saying he's a typecast type person, but come on, it's Hugo Weaving! Overall, my thoughts on this chapter are good. I loved it. I had fun with it. I'm looking forward to the Asari part of it, because now we have the Athena being infiltrated the society and is now going to begin her sort of cabal, this sort of religious uprising of sorts against the corrupt government. Or, if we really want to go religious, a type of crusade.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
I mean, come on, guys. It's just fun. It's great. It's fun. It's good. The heretic. Not only that, but I can definitely see the Asari Spartans being kind of, like the Amazons. Buffed. Fit. Sexy. Lusted after by the weaker men and women.
Stop! My penis can only get so erect.
I'm sorry, I blacked out there for a second. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the story. Overall, I believe that the story can be improved upon even more. I'm looking forward to what the author is doing and how far he's going to take it. And again, I can't wait. I legitimately cannot wait. And if you guys want to come talk to the author and tell him how much you love it, be foreknown that the guy even announced in this chapter that he is making a Discord. But he is on Discord right now in the author's Discord. A link in the pinned comment down below, as well as chapter 22 of this story. And the PayPal where you folks can help donate to the channel and help support the content that we produce, as well as sponsor future reviews. And, ladies and gentlemen, next time we take a look at really a story I didn't expect to like. Next time we take a look at chapters, well, at the current chapters of a Southern hero, well, not really a Southern hero, a shield hero story about the Civil fucking War. Or at least a guy who understands, basically a military shield hero story where a civil war will happen. Till next time, ladies and gentlemen.